Remember, the quiet ones always have the darkest secrets. It's time to uncover them on Hidden Killers with Tony Brueski, featuring former prosecutor and defense attorney Eric Faddis.
When Diddy was arrested this last week on Monday night, we had speculated prior to this that there'd be multiple arrests all over the country, different places, different people. That did not happen. They took down Diddy. Were you surprised by that at all, or is this part of a strategy? They did clearly say this is an ongoing investigation. There's very likely will be other charges brought, whether it be against Diddy or other individuals. Is this kind of one of those things right now where, okay, we got the kingpin, now let's watch everybody scatter, talk, basically let them incriminate themselves now that we, just threw a giant rock in this pond?
That appears to be the federal government's strategy, and it's a bit uncommon, especially in a RICO case. Often in a RICO case, the kingpin is indicted, but also the underlings, the other folks, affiliates, those sort of things, are also indicted as part of a showing of force from the government that, hey, like, we know what's up, and we know these 20 people are involved, and who wants to come give us information? Here they didn't do that, and I think it's in part a sort of veiled threat towards those folks to see how they're going to react.
And without like directly going to them and saying, hey, we know you're involved, we have you on video, are they just like, okay, let's see what they do, let's see how they act, or have they gone to some of these people already and basically have given them immunity? You tell us what you know, and we're going to squeeze you, and then okay, then that's why maybe there weren't more arrests already.
I don't know for sure. My guess, though, is that the government has identified several folks who are higher up, and those folks probably knew, could hear the footsteps, knew the storm was coming, have probably lawyered up. It would not be uncommon for prosecutors to get in touch with those folks and or their attorneys sort of off the record to say, hey, do you want to negotiate a deal to protect your dude or not, before they disclose publicly who those people are.
There's a lot of people who were close with him, and there's a lot of speculation of, I guess, how involved they were. I mean, it's almost been, a secret that wasn't a secret, because so many people, interviews over the years, have talked about Diddy's parties in not talking about them by saying there's certain things I can't talk about here. I know Ashton Kutcher had said that. There's an image even on Beyonce's Instagram still of Diddy and Jay-Z sitting next to each other on a couch with their mouths being covered like we can't talk. Having knowledge of this sort of stuff, is that criminal in itself, and not reporting it and not doing anything about it? I mean, obviously they all have the money, so they're living in a different land, but obviously criminal activity took place here. It doesn't matter what you have for money if you're being a criminal. So I guess the question is, who else are we likely going to see, falling here? It's all speculation at this point, but I'm going to guess there's going to be more.
Yeah, as my colleague Nicole Palmer said recently, a freak off in and of itself is not a crime. So attending a cool party or a not cool but a party, is not necessarily criminal. It's going to depend on what those folks knew. Did they know there was some coercion? Did one of the women or men workers come to them and say, "Hey, look, I don't feel safe here. I don't feel comfortable," and they just disregarded it? That's when we start to get to the level of possible criminal liability. In terms of the individuals, I would be looking, if I was the prosecutor, at Diddy's close circle, business-wise and otherwise, Bad Boy Entertainment, his other ventures, to really try to ferret out if any of those folks had direct involvement in these allegations.
Let's talk about that. I mean, record companies and things of that nature. I mean, Bad Boy is a subsidiary, and I forget what it's a subsidiary of, but I would think there'd be some knowledge within the record companies. I know in some of the civil suits, the record companies are named, saying, we believe you couldn't not know what was going on with your star over here. Are we going to see possible charges and things like that on the business side for some companies that may have, helped fund, been participating somewhat, on an economic level with this stuff?
It's surely possible. And the gentleman's name escapes me, but this week after the Diddy arrest happened, a high-level record executive, I forget which record company, but was associated with Diddy, resigned. And everyone is saying, hey, is there some relationship there? And so in looking at it, the allegations of bribery, obstruction of justice, essentially covering up crimes, often involved monetary payments. And were any sort of business types involved in those transactions? And if so, what knowledge did they have? That's going to be a pressing question for authorities.
Lots of questions and lots of people involved in this. I'm imagining there's a lot of scared people right now as well that are sitting around going, okay, what's going to drop next?
All right, true crime addicts, let's cut the crap. You're knee-deep in the gory details of your favorite podcast when suddenly a commercial hits like a bad meal. Seriously? You deserve better. Upgrade to True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts, where you can binge without those annoying ads. Plus, get extended interviews that go deeper into the darkness and early access to episodes so you can be the first to know. It's like trading up from fast food to fine dining, but with more blood. So, go ahead. Search for True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe and feast on the good stuff.